Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to day 72 of our 90-day Rhino run. I am super, if you guys know me, that doesn't even surprise you that just happened. I see Stacy laughing. I love it. Okay, so welcome to day 72 of our 90-day run. It is hard to believe that we have 3 weeks left, you guys, 3 weeks. And then we go right into hacking better. And I'm super excited. You know, I know how this feels. It's not just with our businesses. It's not just with a Rhino run. This stuff can get hard and tedious and tiring, and you're plugging in every day. And right now you're probably like, holy cow, I have all these days of things to do and all this information, and where do I even go? But what you should look at it as, instead of this overwhelm, is like, man, I have all these videos to go back to when I'm thinking, man, maybe I'm stuck a little bit, or maybe there's more things I can be doing. You can open these videos, you can re-listen, and then you can be like, okay, that's something I can implement now. And then when you get that down, find one more thing to implement, find one more thing, and in a year, you'll look different than you did this year right now. So 72 days, it's crazy. I want you guys to get for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kelly Couch. I'm an independent promoter with the company Prove It. And I want you guys to grab a pen and paper, because I am excited today to talk about, starting your Monday right and learning to start fresh, like each week, each month, set goals. Like, let's start being more intentional about our week. I think sometimes we think in our head, like, I know when I wake up to a new month, I'm like, okay, either A, I feel like I killed it at the end of the month, and I'm like, man, if I go off of that momentum, I'll really do well. Or I'm like, okay, last month wasn't really my most awesome. This month is different. It's a fresh start. We can look at Mondays that way too. And so I think I want you guys to sort of just set your mindset before we dig into all of this. It may seem like a big shift to your regular Monday morning or what you've been doing in the past, but I'm going to trust that if you're listening to day 72 and you're still on here, that you are here because you want to make a change. And you're here at day 72 because you're ready to go with this. And so, when you're re-listening to these maybe in the next 90 days, or even today, take from this what you can and start. That's been the theme, right? Like, take what you're willing to do, or what you're ready to do, or how much you want to change your business, and apply. If we're just listening to all of this, but I realized that when I was listening to some of the ones we did on the last 90-day run, I was like, holy cow, if I had applied all of this. But it's one thing at a time. It's a layering thing. So we are ready to make a big change. So topic today, starting your Monday, and my outcome is to really give you some tips and teach you sort of how to get in the mindset, and then also like the strategy stuff. Okay, so for gratitude today, I'm going to take it the next step. We always, text someone that we really care about, or text someone that we want to make feel good, or maybe we didn't appreciate well this week. But I want you to text them. And then I also want you to text someone you care about and ask them to come to Hacking Better. Like, I know that might feel weird, but we have, like, tickets are never $100. We have a couple left. They can hop in a car. I literally texted everyone like last week who was driving, because I realized Nick and I are going different days. We're taking cars. We've got cheap hotels. Like, this event could change someone's life. And I think sometimes being afraid to ask, like, imagine the opposite. Like, imagine you ask them and they say no, fine, right? They're not ready yet. But imagine you ask them, they come here, like Christy Jones, I met in a 15-passenger van on the way to Kentucky 3 years ago, maybe. And look, like, that gave us so much time to connect and so much time to get on the same page. And our friendship has blossomed since then. I think we underestimate the power of this kind of thing. Like, not only the event, right? They're going to go and that's going to change their life, but this long road trip is another time for us to really dig in and get to know each other. So I want you guys to check that out. Just see what response you get. You never know who's going to say yes, right? So today I want to take you through DMO. If you haven't heard this before, which I would be surprised if you hadn't on day 72, it's your daily method of operation, right? And that's what you're doing each day, each week, to get up and set yourself up for success, or get yourself where you want to be, right? And I admittedly in the past was not amazing at this. And Nick and I, when we feel like we're off, it's because we're not setting these. You know, I think the more people, and you don't have to be a super green personality to do this, super analytical or anything, but I think you'll find, like, when Nick and I are not feeling like we're jiving together in our business, or our business isn't growing, it's because we're like, man, we're just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. We got to get focused and get our goals written down and set up what we're going to do each day. So I think I want to start out by really thinking, you know, when we're setting our DMOs, sometimes I feel like I'm a list person, so I like to check off lists. So I'll write things that I'm like doing presently just to be able to check the box. Who else, right? But I think sometimes we hold ourselves to such a high standard in some area of our lives that maybe we don't care about or don't need to care about. And maybe we're setting our standards too low on areas that could change our lives. Does that make sense? like, I was having this realization just today as I was thinking about all this. Like, I was exercising, and when I was like younger, before kids, before when I thought I was really busy and had responsibilities, right? I would work out like crazy, like twice a day. I would run. And so every time since then that I've gotten back into exercising, it's the same standard. Like, I give myself a week to get back into it, and then I'm pushing the envelope all the time, which isn't bad. But if you never like, the consistency is what's key with exercising, right? Like, is it really realistic for me to think that when I'm 65 or 90, I'm going to be out running 5 miles a day? Probably not. But if I can consistently get a half an hour to an hour in, or 20 minutes, if I can get consistent movement in every day, I'm going to see those results eventually. I mean, if you're bodybuilding or something, like, have at it. But if I can just stick to the consistency and the action instead of like this crazy standard that I've been holding myself to, like, and then if I can then turn and kick it in with my goals and my DMOs, because I haven't gone running for 3 hours, like, you see the shift here. And I was just thinking this with my daughter. So we joined this co-op this year, and they have to do a presentation every single week. And so the goal is that by, you know, in 4 years, I've done 100 presentations, you know, and my kids will be like 10. But some people who have been there a lot of years, they do these presentations on like Rome and like whatever we're learning. But they literally, when they introduced the idea, it was like, hey, the idea is for them to get up there and talk in front of a room. It doesn't matter if it's like how they brush their teeth that morning. It doesn't matter if it's like, you know, that they didn't brush their teeth that morning. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the fact that they're getting up and doing it. And I think if we think about that as our DMOs for starting, right? Of course, you want to get to a point where your action is intentional and you're getting places with it, but we need to do it, right? If it's so hard that we're not doing it, then we're defeating the whole purpose, right? And so, on Mondays, okay, we need to write things down. And I haven't been awesome at this in the past. I get like 72 planners, and I like the quotes in one and the calendar in one and the other. And then I'm just all over the place and I never do it. When I get like a white piece of paper, I actually write stuff down. So, you know, however you need to get yourself motivated, that's what we need to be doing in the morning. Videos are great, but how can we then put that into practice? And we've talked about that already, so I'm not going to go into that much. But this is where setting, you know, who has ever felt burnout? Like I have. This fall has kicked my butt, but it hasn't just been this fall. You can get to a point where you're burnt out. Like, and it has nothing, sometimes it's to do with prove it, sometimes it's not, but you're just there. And me too, like I've been there. But I think, and who sometimes lets us take them out of action. Like I have done that. I feel burnt out, and I look down one night and I haven't made a Facebook post in like 8 days. And I'm like, man, like what just happened? Like that would take me maybe 20 minutes if I focused on it. And I've been out of action for a week because I got burnt out, right? I've been there. But I think this is where setting DMOs keeps you focused and on track. So if I had a list, and I'll show you how pretty mine looks today. It's on the back of an envelope, right? But it's a list that I need to get done today. And that's where I'll feel good at the end of the day when I lay my head down, right? So maybe this Zoom is part of your DMO. And I think that's awesome because it's a place to tune into every day and get positivity, but be mindful that it should outline or catapult income producing activity. Does that make sense to everyone? Like, I don't want this to replace what you're doing to grow your business. If you're just tuning in here and listening every day, and then you're getting off and you feel awesome, and that's fantastic. I love if you love to tune in and hear my voice. I will keep talking to you. But I want you to take that action then when you leave. This can't replace the action that needs to be done to grow your business. So if you're feeling burnout, I think that you've probably stopped being consistent. All right, we can all admit to that. Like if you're writing your goals, you're writing a checklist for the day, like you're doing your stories, you're saying your happy birthdays online to up that engagement, you're making posts in the groups, like if you have a customer group, like we have Eat, Drink, and Be Keto, if you're making social media, you're doing all those things. When you stop writing them down, you stop writing your goals, you stop making those checklists, you stop doing all that because you get comfortable, then it's sort of a rabbit hole we go down, right? So then at the end of the day, you stop the consistency. At the end of the day, we don't have any trial packs out. At the end of 2 weeks or into the month, you have no orders, and then you don't even know who's in your pipeline. A sale hits and you're like, holy crap, like who would I even send this to that wouldn't be spamming them because I haven't done anything? Like I can be messaging, but if I'm not moving the conversation forward to connect with more people, or, we get so out of touch with our own business that and it's all consistency. It's not this crazy action that no one can do. It's consistent action that you're fully capable of doing, right? So what happens? I think when all this happens and we get so far out of touch with what we're doing, we start, and I'm guilty of this as anyone, like we start going to bed with extra stress because you didn't show up for yourself, you didn't show up for your business. And what happens then? You start not showing up as well for your family, or if you have a job, you start not showing up as well at your job because it all trickles into each other, right? But if we can wake up Monday, wake up Tuesday, wake up Wednesday, and get on this stuff, I know for me personally, like that's what gets me out of bed. Because I know when my kids get up, my whole day goes better if I've gotten up and done the stuff I need to do to make my mind be clear and ready for that to happen, right? And so after 4 weeks, 6 weeks, etc., like we get in our own heads, like, oh, this doesn't work. I can't do it. I need a job. I need to make more money. Like prove it's not bringing in anything when it's not really prove it, right? We have ketones. It's us. And I think that takes a real level of self-awareness to be able to look in and say, it's me. Like I'm the one that's not doing the things to keep myself to make this a business, right? And so with those limiting beliefs start to creep in and we start to blame other people, shame, justify what's happening, right? But we can do this. We just have to get up and do it. So the truth is, if you had or have a 9-to-5 job, would you get fired if you didn't show up? Yes, you would. I can give you that answer. If every day your boss came in and you were not in your seat, you would not have a job. So it's the same thing with Prove It. Figure out your goals, figure out the time you need to put in to be where you want to be, and then just do it consistently over and over and over again, right? But we have to make that time for it. So what's the point? I want you guys to take it back to your mornings. And if you had told me this before I read Miracle Morning, or if you had told me this before I started doing it myself, I would have been like, no, I'm not a morning person. It's not my thing. I like to stay up super late and get that stuff done. But really, how's your mindset shift? Like if you waited till maybe 11 p.m. and then you start messaging people for the day, you feel like nobody's awake. You feel like you've missed the whole day. You've been so hectic. And if you do fall asleep, then you wake up, it's all this trickle effect. So we got to bring it back to our mornings. And if that means you waking up starting with 15 extra minutes in the morning, a half an hour in the morning, whatever you're into, like listening to motivational stuff in the shower, like switch those mornings around and you'll shift it. So this gives you guidelines, for a great Monday and to see what tasks you're nailing and how your outlook changes. So I want you to look back on this week and be like, this was the best week I've had in 75 days of business because I wrote down what I needed to do and I did it. Like, how good would that feel to look back in 30, 60, 90 days and be like, wow, that was the week. That was the week that things changed because I actually started to write this down and do what I was writing down. Yeah, that would feel amazing. All right, so here we go. The first thing is I want you to find your morning schedule. And like I said, when I'm walking through this, it might feel like a lot. And in the beginning, it's going to take longer because you're not used to doing it. But so start it, doesn't have to start on a Monday. Like your first week can be over the week as long as you're setting time aside to think about it. And then each week will get quicker. So start finding your morning schedule. Like the Miracle Morning Works, if you guys have read that. But I think you need to find you. Like when I was getting up and doing the Miracle Morning, some things felt off when I was meditating or visualizing or how am I bringing I'm a spiritual person. How am I bringing that into this? And They felt separated instead of together. So I think find you, like if you're visualizing, meditating, and it feels that way, and you believe in God, like make it prayer and prayerful meditation. Like that's okay. Make it you, but get up and do it. Right. And for me, you know, I heard, I think it was maybe on the last 90-day run, like about doing a 20-20-20-ish, like 20 minutes for me, like 20 minutes or maybe a little longer of reading the Bible and really studying that. 20 minutes of like leadership reading and listening to that kind of stuff. And then 20 minutes of like motivation. These Zooms are motivating, but when they stop, then you're going to have to be able to anchor yourself to what drives you forward, right? We talked about anchoring before and finding that thing that gives you that, like what changes you to go forward and do more, right? And I think you need to figure out and take the lead in your own life. Like take responsibility for being able to get your headspace and your energy right each morning before going into your day. And imagine, like, I can see it in week shifts. Like if I don't get up for a whole week straight, I feel so chaotic on that weekend. Whereas if I've gotten up every morning that week, maybe I didn't get everything I needed done, but my whole week went better. And so this gives you a way to check in with how you're feeling each day and identify. Like, I think identifying it is the first step. Like, I can identify every single morning, and maybe this is different, and maybe as I continue, it will not feel like this. But when I wake up each morning, I can say, like, if I'm doing a scale of like 1 to 5, maybe 1's like super depleted, 2 is like blah, 3, you know, is good, 4 is energetic, and 5 is like, I'm out the door rocking and rolling. Okay. So like every morning when I wake up, I sit on the side of my bed, like I just want to lay down. Like I feel blah and depleted. Right. But the minute I'm up, then I'm like, all right, what things can I do to take myself from this? I don't know if it's pretending I'm exhausted or if I actually am, or I just love my bed, but take me from that state to where I need to be to start my day. Right. And so what are some things we can do, you know, like we recognize that just because we wake up at a 1 doesn't mean we stay at a 1 all day, right? If you stay depleted all day, you're not pouring into anyone in your life, not just prove it. And so we have to recognize that we don't have to stay there. And so what are some things? Like me, every morning when I wake up and I get anxious. And so maybe my alarm goes off at 5 and I'm like, I don't really want to get up till 5:30. Well, I lay there and get anxious about things for 30 minutes. It's not good sleep like I would hope. It's that I'm like laying there worried about what I have to do. If I literally stand up and take the action to get myself out of that 1 state, like, why do I do it to myself? I don't know. But, you know, and you think like you're staring at your bed and you feel like, oh, I might die if I stay up, but you won't, and stay up and do it, right? So what are some examples of things you can do to get from a 1 to a 5? Are you hydrated? What are you putting in your mouth if you eat something at that time, right? Is it sugary? Like these are things that shifted. You know, ketones are going to bring me up to a good, right? Coffee is going to bring me up to a better. My 20-20-20 is going to bring me that energy I need to go out and do the things, right? So we can shift this. And so I think remembering that Mondays or whatever your day is gives you this fresh start. Like you can love Mondays if you reframe. You get up, you plan, and you do. And so then imagine shifting like, oh, I hate Mondays to like, Monday's my day. Like that's when I get focused for the week. And then I can check off the next Monday. Did I do the things and how did my week go based on that? So, you know, I think for us, if you look at it, like what things can we ask ourselves on Mondays? Like friends, what friends do I want to bless this week? And we can write this all down. Like imagine you wrote down 5 friends that you were like, I'm going to do something to make them feel blessed this week. And you did it. Like that would be awesome. And what they would pour back into you would be even better, right? And so what friends do I want to bless? What things do you want to do as a mom or a dad? Who do you want to connect with? Who do you want to bring into your business? Who can you show love to? Like you can write all of this down. And then when you're like, oh, what should I be doing when I'm up here in the morning? If I have it on my list that I want to bless Stacey Rudisil, then when I'm up in the morning, like I should just go to bed. There's really nothing for me to do when I'm talking myself out of this. I'm going to send Stacey a little message or write her a thank you card or whatever. And then that way, like I can say, yes, I did do my things this week. And you know, what's Stacey going to do? She can be like, oh, that was awesome. Like when you get a handwritten note in the mail, you feel awesome, right? Let's do more of those things if we have nothing else. But if we have a list, let's get to it, right? Like for me, I was noticing that, you know, I added this to my list and I actually did it this week. I was noticing that Nick was feeling stressed out about things, certain things, and that I could probably help change. And I didn't want to. For like 2 months, I was like super annoyed that he was even bringing it up. Like an example is that my kids still come into my bed a lot in the night. And if Nick is not here, if he's out doing private stuff, I let them fall asleep with me a lot of times. They're 7, 6, and 4. And so he would come home, and sometimes they're still there. We haven't moved them, or he has to move them. And it's this whole thing that makes him stressed out. And I don't get it, because I'm like, I love my babies. They pour into me. I just need to snuggle with them as much as I can. So let's stop that, right? If that's making Nick feel stressed and not get in a better state when he wakes up or when he goes to bed, and I can shift that, then let's do it. So what I went to I went to the dollar store. I bribed the heck out of them. I let them each get like 10 things from the Dollar Tree that were $1. And so when they go to sleep in their room and they wake up, they get to pick something. And so for the last 6 nights, it's worked amazingly. They're proud of themselves because that's something they want to achieve. Nick feels happy. And here we are. Like, I achieved it. They achieved it. We're all feeling good. That's just an example. So what these things are going to do are get you in the right emotional mindset, right? Or the emotional state that you need to be in to then take the action you need to take, right? So if you're not doing these and you're jumping right into your business stuff, of course you can do that. But like we talked about before, those little shifts are going to make all that energy you're pouring in, just like when you're, talking abundantly or talking, what's the word? Missy would know if I unmuted her. But like when you say the things, your wording matters. Like we're like, everything happens in our favor. We joke because we're like, how can just saying it change things? But it changes how you view everything. And that's how you, like if you go to a vendor event and no one's there and you're like, that's all right, because everything happens in our favor. Then you happen to be next to the person that is going to be your next Ryan 10. Who knows, right? But when you start to shift those things, you're in a better mindset. So now I want to get into the task stuff. If this stuff is not fun if you have not done the other stuff. So that's why I recommend that first. But let's write it out, okay? So what are the 5? Here's what I want you guys to sit and do. And I'm not going to give tons of calls to action because these are them. So write down, number 1, what are the 5 most important tasks of this week? And I want you to do this on Mondays, or like I said, if you want to take the weekend to do it in the beginning because it takes longer. But these are like, if you only got 5 things done this week, you would feel satisfied. Okay. And then like, these are the things that like, when these are weighing on you, you're stressed and you have low energy and you can't do the business stuff because all you can think about is these other things that are weighing on you so badly, right? Like tax season, taxes weigh on me in this manner and I can get nothing else done because it's all we can think about. Like if you have to do business stuff, that can be part of this too. Like other things might be like, I don't know what your goals are, but like knocking out, like I'm the president of the preschool. If I have like 82 messages and I'm trying, like I heard some things are important, some things are urgent, do the important things because everything seems urgent. That's how the preschool feels. Like it's not near the top of my priority list, but because I'm the president, it seems urgent all the time. If I take an hour on Sundays and knock all of it out, that would be something that would take all that stress away and I could focus the rest of the week. So that would be an example for me, planning my homeschool week, automating some of my bills to come out so I don't have to worry about that, consolidating credit cards, whatever your things are. Private goals can be included, sell 5 and 10 days, 5, 10 days and 5 days, right? And a cool goal I think would be in your number 1s would be to make yourself do that before you move to any of your other lists that I'm going to describe. Because say you want to start saving money, okay? And you spent what you currently had in your checking on an experience pack, right? If you force yourself, and Missy and I do this sometimes, right? And Missy does it a lot and I love it. And like Nick and I will be like, if we have no money, let's say we have no money and all we can live on is what we sell in 5 and 10 day experiences. Like you would feel backed into a corner. And do you think you would move more product? Yes. Like I can guarantee you would because we've done it and Missy does it. And you're like, oh, I get to go do this because I sold a 10 day. Like I wouldn't have gotten to go, but because I did that, right? So move your thought process to that and start saving. And then like, it'll also motivate you in the other areas. So it motivates you to show up when your back is against the wall in that manner. So other examples, buy one calendar or planner and consolidate all of them instead of having 92, right? Like you have your glitter one, you have your like actual motivating one from like Mel Robbins. You have one that you were like, oh, I could probably put it out. Let's consolidate those. I'm going to like add that to your number 1 list. Okay. Or like plan a KLP for the month, like do your landing page, whatever your thing is, right? 2, after you hit those 5 tasks, this is your next list. What are your next 5? And your thing here, I don't know the word, you can't touch the second 5 until you're done the first 5. So maybe this one is like you want to plant flowers outside or you want to decorate the whole front of your yard for fall. You can't do that until you've sold 5 10 days and 5 5 days. How much more urgent is that first list, right? Or even like make it like folding your laundry. Like I have been the person, and I've seen it in other people's stories, and it always makes me laugh. Like they're exercising and, you know, this perfect social media pic, and then it's like priorities are never in conflict, and they'll like show their room and there's like 20 baskets. And I love that because like that's me some weeks, right? But if folding your laundry, you can put that on your two, right? Because it's not something that's so pressing, but like you want to do it. Like I would like to get all that put away, but that's not making me any money. So if I get those 10 days out or whatever that first list is, it'll motivate you to knock out those first 5. And I think we can check ourselves by thinking like, how often do we get caught up in doing silly stuff that's not helping our business at all? It's not helping our relationships. It's not helping our finances. Like, guess what you wouldn't be doing this week if you wanted to get to task number 9? Like, you wouldn't be watching TV. You wouldn't be sleeping in 2 extra hours. If you were so motivated to get to number 9 and you knew you had to do the first 8, you would be working on those first 8 all the time before you like went to your corn maze, or I don't know. I'm just thinking like fall activities. I don't know. But if you want to get to number 9, you'd be focused on getting the first ones done, right? Like here, our closet is overwhelming to Nick. There's so much stuff. And that's where we put things when it's like, we'll deal with that later, right? I can close that door for now, right? And he'll just forget about it. But if I have to get my trials out and I have to get, you know, my homeschool stuff planned out for the week, and I have to do all that before I can get to that, then that makes me income. Then I can get to that stuff, right? So number 3, 5 more additional tasks. Before all of this though, what I think is helpful is to do a brain dump. And if you don't know what a brain dump is, you set a timer, maybe 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and you don't stop writing until everything you're thinking is on that paper, and then prioritize it. Because I think what happens is we do this first 5, then we do the second 5, and we're like, oh wait, dang, that might be more important, and then whatever. So just get it all out on paper and prioritize it. And if you're not sleeping before bed, I recommend keeping a notepad and a pen next to your bed. I am someone who gets anxious like in the night when I wake up. If I have my pen there and paper, I can just write it down. I can forget about it and get to sleep and know that it'll be there in the morning. So next, I want you to take the top 5, and I want you to see which is the most important. Like, which will I win life with? If life blows up, which will I not go to bed not having done? When you knock these out, then you can go to town on making money, right? Which is income producing activity. And that's what we want to do here, right? Like, we're going to help a ton of people, but we also want to make money. We want to make this a business. We want to, like, I'm going to whisper it, get out of our jobs. Like, in case you're listening at your job, like, we want to be free, right? That's the goal. So let's knock this other out so that we can do that, right? And so the last thing I want you to do, I want you to review. Okay, there's 2 more. Review your goals and create goals. If you haven't created them from the other Zoom I did, let's get those down. End of week, we have our trial pack goals. End of month, we have our, like, I want 5 new smart ships and 1 new promoter by the end of the month, right? If I can knock that out, I can raise it next month, right? More is great, but let's work hard daily, and that's your non-negotiable. Like, write down your non-negotiable numbers for the end of week and end of month. This should always be, one of these should always be new volume, right? I think if you're planning to grow and rank up in this business, 800 should be your minimum, because that's going to open shares and unlock things. If you can get that down now, when you get there, it's no problem. Now we have this new MVP, which unlocks so much money. If you're not shooting for 1,600 every month, it's not easy, y'all, but if you come out of the gate running for that, like, you're crazy. That's cash. It's literally, like, you could say like, oh, the more new volume you get, the more money you get. But literally now you do get cash in your wallet for getting new volume. So let's aim for that. When you get this down now, you know, you learn to put your oxygen mask on first. If you've heard that analogy, like, get your own stuff first, and then you can turn and help other people learn how to do the same thing. The last one, plan out your social media posts, right? If you're sitting down and doing that Monday, I'm not saying you have to actually write them out, but if you plan topics for each day, how much more likely are you to do it, right? Who has paralyzed themselves? They get on, they're like, oh man, I don't have a picture, and I don't even know what I would write about if I did. I know Kelly told me to make those lists, but right, you're 20 minutes in, you've talked yourself out of it. If you say, hey, Monday I'm going to do like business mom balance post. Tuesday I'm going to do a spiritual post. Wednesday I'm going to do keto. Thursday I'm going to do dreams for my kids. Like, you would wake up thinking about that. You might watch a few motivational videos. You take a picture and you do it, right? I think that there's lots of wiggle room here for that with how you're feeling that day, but you can wake up focused on that, right? Call to action. I know that that was one big call to action. So what I want you to do is, like, your actual call to action is going to be like, how bad do you want some people to go to Hacking Better? Like, I want to focus on that because we have today and tomorrow to register these tickets and we have a couple left. And so, like, help them sell something to go. Like, it's $100, you guys. Like, if they got, like, I don't know, Nick and I just sold an old key fob for our old Cadillac online for like $60. Like, that would get them to Hacking Better, basically, you know. And if that gets them $60 and they need the extra 40, reach up. You never know. The answer is always no if you don't ask, right? So let's get people there. Re-listen to this. Set aside some time. It gets easier, I promise. And your last call to action, Nick and I's goals, one of our big goals. I know Missy is on board with this. I haven't talked to everyone on here. We want to learn to taproot. And what that means is we want to go as far down in your teams as we can go and work with those newest new people. The only way we know who is doing that at this point is when you guys reach up to us and let us know, like, this person is really working hard, but maybe they haven't gotten where they want to be yet. They just signed up and they're really excited. Could you reach out? But we don't even just want to reach out. We want to be spending time there. So if you guys, one of your calls, your last call to action is to send us a list or send your coach a list of people who are new or new-ish and they want to run with this. And this can include customers that are super excited. So I'm excited for the week planned out. Tomorrow, Missy will be doing our Attract. Wednesday, Jess Nouse will be doing Connect. And then I will be doing Enrolling. And then Nick will be on Friday with a special guest. He'll be up in Alaska with Brian. So I'm super excited to have him hop on. We're hoping to get some other Zooms with him during Nick's time there, but at least on Friday, tune in to hear that. So with that, I'll let you guys go and we will see you tomorrow.